Well, I think we can all agree that 2020 can go straight into the bin on the 31st of December this year. It has been a difficult and exhausting year, and it has come with phrases that, frankly, I hope we never see the light of day again. Socially distanced coffee, COVID secure, the dreaded Zoom quiz, and the phrase wet pub actually makes me a bit queasy. But in business, there's one phrase that we hear a lot about: build back better. Build back better inspires ambition and confidence. It suggests that the chaos and hardship of 2020 might just have been worth it if we can rebuild a better world in 2021. If we are going to attempt such a feat, we will need the best and brightest minds working together to create lasting positive changes to how we work, live, and lead. I run a small business, a bus company, which is pretty much the least sexy business to ever have to try to describe to people. I have been leading my business for nearly 25 years. My husband and I run the business together and continue to stay married. True story. In 2018, I also enjoyed the great privilege of serving as the president of the Londonderry Chamber of Commerce. It was an immensely positive experience, one that I always recommend. And for a small business owner like me, it was a life-changing one too. I got to meet political and business leaders in Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, the UK, the US, and the EU. I had the opportunity to speak on behalf of my business community on economic development, infrastructure, Brexit. However, it was an opportunity that I nearly turned down at the time because I was scared. I was scared that I wasn't successful enough to wear the chain of office. I was terrified that I would say the wrong thing. And several times I did say the wrong thing. And I thought in that awful moment that I would die, that I would drown in a puddle of mortification. But I didn't die, because it turns out that mortification can't actually kill you. And I learned lessons from the things that I got wrong. And I was a fine president. Occasionally, I was even a brilliant one. We need business people to use their leadership skills to reshape the world of work in 2021 and beyond. We need leaders who are nimble, innovative, and inclusive. And frankly, we need more business women who are leaders just like that. But we might have a problem there, because we have left many women with 2 jobs to do throughout the pandemic, and we will simply not build back better at all without them. It came as a shock to many working women this year when they were instructed to work from home that it meant doing 2 jobs. One was the one they were paid to do, and one was the one they were not paid to do. According to the McKinsey report on women in the workplace, published in September this year, mothers were more than 3 times as likely as fathers to be responsible for the housework and caregiving during the pandemic, and were more likely to be spending an additional 3 hours per day on housework and childcare. It's not surprising then that the same report cites 1 in 4 women in the workplace now considering downsizing their role, with the majority citing childcare responsibilities as the primary reason for doing so. This should ring alarm bells for all of us. Firstly, it suggests that women in the workforce are really under pressure and that we are at risk of losing their talent and expertise. But it also means companies risk losing women in leadership and therefore their pipeline to future leaders. This will have a detrimental effect on the performance of companies and, more profoundly, risks unwinding years of progress in gender diversity. Companies with more diverse leadership demonstrate better financial performance and profitability. This is called the diversity dividend. And if we are really to build back better, then we need to embed equality and diversity into the foundations of that build. As huge parts of our world, domestic, commercial, and political, are upturned this year, it is more important than ever that women bring their skills into business and civic leadership. One of the things that surprised me when I was president of the Chamber of Commerce was, even in 2018, how often I found myself as the only woman in the room. In fact, on one occasion, I was invited to a discussion on economic development. And when I arrived, one of my hosts said, "Oh, Jennifer, I'm so glad to see you." And I smiled warmly because I thought, oh, it's because of my brilliant business insights, obviously. So I was still smiling when he said, "There are no other women in the room, and it looks really bad." So just to be clear, having one woman in the room to take the bad look off a photograph doesn't qualify as gender diversity. When I speak to other businesswomen about taking on additional leadership positions, many of them are frank about their honest concerns of the impact it would have on their home life. It's not that they don't have an interest in economic or political forces. It's that their priorities include the well-being of everyone in their families, which can include children, spouse, and parents. They consider the time that civic leadership might cost the people in their lives. So, how can we tell women that we want them to step up even further? Number one, let's all stop pretending that domestic work is invisible. When we pretend it's invisible, we don't have to recognize it and we don't have to appreciate it. There's a bit of her indoors, 1970s humour about it, and it's a bit insidious, to be honest. Childcare is tiring, it's thankless, and it's sometimes smelly and sticky and dirty. It's hard work, and we all have to stop pretending that it's otherwise. Every working woman that I know found themselves homeschooling while running the equivalent of an all-you-can-eat buffet during the pandemic. They balanced morning snacks with math lessons and phonetics with phone and Zoom calls. Government announcements about childcare, the most critical enabler of the economy, always came as an afterthought. So most working women were left to juggle their domestic and professional responsibilities themselves. If we ask parents to step up into additional leadership roles, we are asking them to take time and energy out of their own families. Those resources aren't free to them or the people that they care about. Number two, childcare is a political issue when lack of access to it amounts to discrimination of your economic prospects. We need to fight for it to be properly funded and flexible. With better childcare, we can more reasonably ask for engagement from our future leaders with young families, both men and women. Number 3, we need to ensure a strong pipeline of future female business leaders. My call to action is to them. The truth is, if we want a more diverse and female-positive workplace and boardroom, if we want policies that recognise the demands of work and family life, we need more women in a position of leadership to design them. You don't need to wait until you're the finished product. You never will be the finished product. Wherever you are in your journey right now, your experience has huge value to other people. Sharing your successes and failures will help other women to learn and grow. We don't need superwomen in leadership roles. We just need more women who are super.